Hello class, this is Professor Kay Maney, and I am going to do a couple of teaching videos that can help all the classes. And so the first one, because this week you've been studying two concepts that you might have had some trouble with. So I'm going to cover them in two separate videos. The first one is, how do you find the sample standard deviation? And it's really easy. There's just a few steps you have to follow. If you'll just follow these steps, you'll get it. Write it down. How do you find sample standard deviation? Step 1, find X bar. Well, what is X bar? X bar means the mean. What is the mean? The mean is the average. I always say the mean teacher averages your grade. So the mode is the most and the median is the middle. But the mean teacher averages your grade. So when you hear the word mean, it means find an average. So you take your data points, ever how many you have. You might have 50 of them. That's a lot of numbers. You're going to average those 50 numbers. How are you going to do that? You're going to add all 50 numbers together and you're going to divide by 50. That's how you would find the average or the mean of 50 numbers. Once you get that answer, and obviously you can use a calculator. You don't have to do all these calculations by hand. Second thing you're going to do, especially if you're writing this out, you want to try to understand what's really going on. At first, you don't want to necessarily just use a calculator, although you can, but I'm just trying to show you what's really going on so you understand it. The second thing you do is you take each data point, subtract the mean from that data point, and then square that answer. And you'll do that for each data point. So if you had 50 numbers, you'd be doing this 50 times. You'd say, data 1, take away the mean. What does that equal? Square that. Plus the second data point, whatever that is, take away the mean, square it, etc. You would keep going until you've done all 50. Then once you've done all 50, if you had 50 data points, you're going to add them all together. First data, take away mean, square it. Plus second data, take away mean, square it. Plus and so on, and keep going until you've done them all. Whatever that answer is, you're now step 3 going to divide by n minus 1. N is the number of data points. So if you had 50 of them, you'd say 50 minus 1 would be 49. You'd be dividing by 49. Ever how many you had. Last thing you have to do, you're almost finished. Take the square root of what you just had up there, and that's going to be your answer. So let's go through it again one more time. Find your average. Take each data point, subtract that average, and square it. After you've done them all, add them all up. Step 3, divide by the number of data points, take away 1. So if you have 50 data points, you'd be dividing by 49. Once you get that, you hit enter, take the square root of that answer, and that's going to be your sample standard deviation. Now the reason you need to know this in your head is because when you get to the midterm or the final and you have to show up in person and you don't have My Labs Plus helping you off to the side, you haven't really learned the material. You've got to be able to do this without your little help from My Labs Plus. Okay, so don't totally depend on that, because then when you come in the test and take the test, you still don't know the material. So, sit down and see if you can do a problem without the little help thing off to the side. And if you can, then you know you really know the material and you're ready to come in and take a test on it. Okay? So that's the end of our first little video here today. Sample standard deviation. Now, I'll be looking for a second one. I'm going to make another video of the empirical rule, which is much more complicated. Thanks. Talk to you later. Let me know if this helped.